For some reason, in the back of my head, I was like, we're going to be really good friends or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then we became really good friends. And like Vince was staying over at my house back then, like a lot. And we were just having fun, making music, talking about stupid stuff. I often don't really care about myself as a person and more about other things. I actually have dyslexia, so it's like I never really dug into them that deep. Like my dad died when I was 2 months old, and my mom like had to get by and stuff. So, and back then like Pokémon was really, I was like obsessed with it, but we didn't really have money for Pokémon cards. I love that my girlfriend she's really outgoing, and she has a really like vibrant and loud personality.
Hi, this is Lauren Engel of Sidewalk Talk. I'm here with Hein of Droeloe,
Hey guys.
the other half. So you're born in Netherlands?
Yes. Born and raised Dutch
And-
guy. I was born in Tilburg, which is in the southern part of the Netherlands, really close to the Belgian border. Moved around a little bit, like for college and stuff. And then just, I think about a year ago, me and Vince moved in together in a place in The Hague. So that's where I am now.
What was the environment like?
It's like basically like a halfway city, so to say. Like it's not that big, it's not that small. It was nice. Like I lived there for almost all the way up until college. It was nice. Like I lived in a really like suburban neighborhood with my mom. Like all my friends live close by. and stuff.
You're really close to your mom, right?
I am.
She supports you hardcore.
Oh yeah, no. My mom's like, I grew up with only my mom because my dad passed away when I was like 2 months old. So yeah, like me and my mom, really close. She supports us hardcore, so to say. And she always like has my back on everything, like whether it be doing this thing called Droeloe or filling out my tax returns. Like she's there, which is like couldn't have wished for like a better mom, so to say.
I love that. What does she do?
My mom nowadays is a translator.
Oh.
Yes, in French officially, but also a little bit of Greek, Dutch, of course, English, German. She's really good with languages.
Wow. Are you curious about languages as well?
I actually have dyslexia, so it's like I never really dug into them that deep. Like my French was okay in high school because we get French in high school in the Netherlands, and so was my German. They were like both okay, but my French was a little bit better because like, my mom spoke it fluently. So, but then like after like in the Netherlands in college, like after 3 years, you can decide what like your graduation like package is going to be, so to say. And then I just decided like, all right, let's just cut out these like languages and stuff and just do stuff that's like that I can nail easily.
So what kind of music was your mom playing in the house when you were growing up?
Hard to say. My mom's really into Dutch music, like Dutch like folk music stuff. So that's always been around, and that's like I don't really like. It isn't my personal taste. Like I kind of hated it when I was a kid. Like I remember this so well. Like you had this thing called the Top 2000.
Yeah.
On like Radio 2, which is like a really big like Dutch radio station, and it was every time in between Christmas and New Year's. Just 24/7. They had like a top 2000 of songs. They were all like really old songs, or like Dutch, like popular Dutch songs from like 10 years ago. And my mom listened to it religiously, as in like non-stop. And when I was a kid, it was just like I wanted to watch TV. No, Top 2000.
How did you find music yourself initially?
I think like the first time I really like gravitated towards a certain genre or music style, so to say, it's like midway through elementary school when all my friends we all like I think, yeah, all my friends were like really into like American hip hop at that time. Like 8 Mile just came out, Eminem was like shit, and we really gravitated towards that, and it like rolled into like a love for like hip hop and eventually like Dutch hip hop as well for a long time. And then like I like as a kid, of course, you go through like phases and stuff.
Did you rap?
Huh?
Did you rap? I know Vince.
I also
rap.
did a little bit. Like me and Vince, we have some tracks where we both rap, but those are like really like stupid like midnight session type things where we're just like, fuck it, we're just gonna rap. We're gonna become rappers now. It's way cooler anyway.
How would you describe yourself back then, growing up?
That's a tricky one. I don't know. Like I always like fitted in really well with everybody. I wasn't really like, if you would like describe it in like American movie high school stereotypes. Like I wasn't really a jock or like an emo kid or whatever. But I was just like kind of cool with everybody. I had my group of friends from like really early on. Like one of my best friends to date, I met him at like kindergarten when I was like 2, and he lived like across the street. So
yeah.
like and like all my friends, like I've known them for a really really long time. So like I always had them, and then we were always like cool with everybody else.
Did you like school growing up, like high school?
High school was fun. I like the social aspect of it more. Just like I was always like a people guy, so to say. I really liked talking to everybody and stuff like that.
Did you gravitate towards more creative subjects from the onset?
Yes. Like another story about my mom. Like my dad died when I was 2 months old, and my mom like had to get by and stuff. So, and back then like Pokémon was really, I was like obsessed with it. But we didn't really have money for Pokemon cards, so I started like drawing my own Pokemon cards and like making up my own Pokemons.
Yeah.
And that like, I think that was like kind of the start for like me doing more creative things, so to say. And then I remember we have a Dutch holiday called Sinterklaas, which is like Saint Nicholas. That was before all the drama around Saint Nicholas.
Yeah.
And it was still like, and then like you had to, like the days leading up to St. Nicholas, you had to like make like drawings for St. Nicholas and like get like carrots for his horse and sugar cubes to like get on his good side, so he would give you a lot of presents.
Yeah. And
I remember that I was really, back then I was really into video games, and I really wanted to have a Super Nintendo. And my mom was like, well, then you have to send him a lot of drawings, because you got to like win him over. So I was like on a steady regime of 5 drawings a night, and I even like, and like my mom was like, yeah, no, good job. And I even I even got yelled at the grocery store for stealing sugar cubes for St. Nicholas's horse. That's how bad I wanted to have the Super Nintendo. And then I remember that like during like it's on December 5th. During the night, like we were like I was unwrapping the presents, and I of course like you're gonna go for the big presents first, and then the smaller ones, and then like I went through all the big ones, no Super Nintendo, and then I put it, and then like in one of the small packages there was like a Super Nintendo game, and I was so pissed. I was like, why does St. Nicholas give me a game for Super Nintendo but doesn't give me a Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
And then like I was really mad. Until I found out on the backside that it said like look into the utility closet, and I went into the utility closet and there was my Super Nintendo. So then I was a really happy boy back then. But it was like, I think my mom still kept all those drawings. It was really fun. I know I was devastated when I found out that my mom was actually St. Nicholas.
Yeah.
But
realizing you're not like, damn it.
Yeah. No, and then like I think that like my mom's always been really supportive of everything that I wanted to do. She's always been like, well, it doesn't really matter if you like, I don't know, like if I would be like wanted to go more towards like economics or something, she would also be okay with that.
Oh wow.
She didn't really care as long as I was happy.
And then you went to HKT.
HKU.
HKU.
In Utrecht. Yeah, that was really like, there was like this weird, like there was like this, not really weird phase, but more like during high school, I was like starting to get into DJing and like producing a little bit. As before, I was like all like focused on like drawing and painting and stuff like that. And then at one point, I was like, it was like, okay, it's gonna be either music or it's gonna be drawing. And then
It must be so good then.
well, like, to be honest, I was like just a pretty shitty producer. Like I knew how to DJ, but I wasn't really the best producer or anything. But like I really loved music and I really loved making music. So it was just like what am I gonna do? And then I decided, okay, cool, I'm just gonna go to art school and I'm gonna like pick the most wide spectrum course, so to say, and we'll figure it out along the way. So I went to the HKU and ended up really gravitating more towards like design and branding, and like 3D animation and stuff like that.
What drew you to those initially?
I don't know. I like sitting behind a computer and making stuff, and it just, I don't know. I felt like I could express myself more that way.
Yeah.
It came a little bit more natural to me than anything else, and I just like still nowadays like I don't really get to do it that often because we're gone like most of the time. But like whenever I'm home or at a place for like a week or so, it's just really like it's really like almost therapeutic for me to just sit behind my computer and like click away at something.
I know exactly what you mean.
It's just like it's really therapeutic after like doing a bunch of shows to then just like calmly sit down and just make some clicks on the computer and make some cool stuff.
How did you decide to be a duo with Vince initially? Like, what attracted you to his personality?
So yeah, Vince and I met at the HKU, and I don't know, like from the first time I met him, I've always had for some reason in the back of my head I was like, we're gonna be really good friends, or something, and then we became really good friends. And like Vince was staying over at my house back then like a lot, and we were just having fun, making music, talking about stupid stuff, playing Age of Empires together. And that like back then we were in art school, so we were really snobby. As in like we would only like Radiohead and Flying Lotus and stuff like that, and it was just like everything else is garbage. And that's like, looking back at it, it's funny how that transitioned into like what we're doing now and like what kind of music we listen to now. Because that's like almost 180. As in like, I occasionally listen to the more like fringe, like avant-garde type stuff, but more just like more like poppy commercial music.
Yeah.
It's just like. And I also listen to music differently nowadays than I used to back then, but that's a whole other story. But then we were really good friends and just hanging out constantly, and we were like, let's for the fun of it, let's just make a trap banger. Because back then, like the only reference we had for like trap music, so to say, was like Flostradamus.
I was just gonna say
Flostradamus Droeloe
Bauer
remix. That was like our go-to jam for whatever dumb meme occasion there was. And then we did that, and it was fun. Like we had fun with it, and I believe there was a school party from the HKU, and they needed somebody to come and like play for like a filler slot, and we were like, fuck it, we're just gonna do it. And then originally it was me, Vince, and Joris. Because like Joris was my roommate at the time, and we were all working on this like fashion film project together, and like hanging out afterwards. This is getting a long story. And then like we played, and it was horrible. We were so terrible. And then we like started diving deeper into like trap, future bass and stuff like that. And back then, like I didn't even know who San Holo was, for example.
Yeah.
Never heard of the guy. Like I think we found Just a Gent's stuff and we really liked it because he was like one of the, even before San really got like big with his like more like sweeter version of trap music, so to say. And Caspo, and then specifically like Mr. Carmack and Jemba Jemba really like sparked our interest into like you can actually just make pretty like meaningful and really like dope music with this, and that's when it kind of transitioned from like being a meme into actually something that we would love to try and do. And then we kind of did it, I guess.
After you graduated, did you work for some like advertising agency? Or?
Yeah, I used to like. It's really funny though, because like a couple days ago, our like the HKU put out like a blog post or whatever they call that nowadays, with like HKU alumni playing Coachella.
Yeah.
And it was like first of all, Vince didn't graduate, so he isn't an alumni.
But they're taking him anyway.
But they're taking him anyway. And second of all, I don't really have a good word to say about that school. So it's kind of awkward. And then they asked us for an interview, and it was just like a planning hell. As in, like, they wanted us to do an interview, I believe today. And I was like, well, sorry, but like it's 2 days out before Coachella. Like,
yeah.
Well, like that doesn't really work. And then like it was just really funny. But then, like after 2 years, I kind of decided to try and work more on the side than actually go to school, because I felt that would give me better handles, so to say, to like get into the work environment, sort of. So yeah, I worked for an ad agency called One Size in Amsterdam for about, I started working there during my internships, and then I kind of stayed there, I guess, up until almost 2 years ago.
So you liked it a lot?
Yeah, it was really nice. Like it was a really small agency that did really like big, like massive jobs, but it was only like 5 people or something.
Oh, can you say what you worked on?
I worked on a bunch of things. A bunch of Under Armour stuff.
Oh wow.
A bunch of Adidas stuff.
Huge.
A lot of sporting brands, and also a couple Netflix shows, title sequences for that. But also a lot of like bullshit jobs that had to be done for like money's sake, which are just like, it's not all fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And same goes for like DJing and music and everything. It's like, I think sometimes people don't really understand that, yes, there's like 99% is so fun, but then there's this 1% of stuff which is just, it's work. Like,
Yeah.
it is work and it will always stay work.
How has your relationship with Vince changed over time?
Definitely more business. As in, we used to be really like best buds, so to say, and that kind of really quickly transitioned into like still being best buds, but also being business partners. And we kind of like switched between the two quite fluently.
Was it difficult initially?
Yeah, it was difficult at first. Not really like difficult, but more like sometimes you have to make choices or critique the other, so to say, as in like, do you really got to go do this, or why haven't you done this? And like there's more interests coming along with like running a business together, so to say.
Yeah.
Than to just be then where you're just like friends working on stuff together for fun.
How has your relationship with Bitbird changed over time?
That's an interesting one. Like Bitbird, of course, they're the ones who like put us on, so to say. If it like, I still say to this day, like if it wasn't for San and Bitbird, we wouldn't have been here. But it has definitely changed. Like I think at first we were more like San's baby, so to say, And I think we're now more gradually going towards being being able to stand on our own 2 feet, which was always a goal of ours. Like, shout out to San. Like, can't thank the guy enough for like putting us on in the beginning. But now it's time for us to like spread our metaphorical wings. And yeah, like we're still just like still Bitbird, still our home, so to say. But that's kind of how it changed.
How do you think your music has changed since the early songs you made?
I think the early songs we made were more, a lot of our really early stuff before Bitbird was really us trying to define what we wanted to do, as in like how we wanted to position ourselves within the landscape. And then from like when we released CGZ, everything got a lot more serious for some reason. And then from that point on, I think it really, I don't know if matured's the right word for it, but it's definitely it's become more meaningful for us personally. I feel that like the music that we're working on now and the music that we've released in the last like couple months all the music is just really, it's just like our EP. It's really inspired by our personal life and our personal feelings, and I think that's what kind of sets us apart, so to say.
How would you say you've grown as a person since when you started?
I became really old really quick. As in like I used to party and stuff like that. I really enjoyed that. And like nowadays it's just I just don't really like going out anymore and stuff like that. Just like I've calmed down quite a lot. I've definitely become more professional, so to say. I'm more like business orientated than I was in the past. And yeah, like I'm 23 years old. We started really when I was 21, but it feels like we started it when I was 20 and it ended up, and like now I'm 30 or something.
Yeah. You grew up really quickly.
Yeah, it's like I always, like it's always just, it's strange how fast a small amount, how long a small amount of time can feel sometimes.
Yeah.
And how short a long amount of time can feel.
What would you say have been your biggest challenges so far? Can be personal life or music, up to you.
I think, like, career-wise, so to say, it's definitely getting tougher. As in, like, we kind of now start feeling the pressure that like people are watching, so to say. As in, like, there isn't like a lot of choices we used to make were just like for the fuck of it, so to say.
Yeah.
It was just like, let's just do this because we think it's fun. And now we're like, everything has to be a little bit more thoughtful, in our own opinion. Which is, then of course, like, you can annihilate that by saying, like, you just gotta do what you want to do. But then we feel that we want to be more thoughtful in the things we do nowadays. So that's been a big challenge. And then personally, what one of my like personal flaws is, I would say, is that I often don't really care about myself as a person and more about other things. And like one of my challenges nowadays is to also try and keep myself happy.
Yeah.
Try and keep my soul happy, so to say. And it's like I have a beautiful girlfriend now, which I obviously don't really get to see that much. I would like to change that. Like I would like to see her more, because like she makes me really happy.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I'm like just trying to like figure that whole thing out and trying to like figure out how my personal life is going to progress instead of how Droeloe's life is going to progress.
Yeah, I like that. Tying with that, what does love mean to you?
As of right now, and hopefully for a long time, love means my girlfriend. But I know you're asking this question to Vince and San.
Yeah.
San obviously has his own very specific opinion about that.
I know.
Which I can kind of understand. Like like some of the things he says, I can like kind of vibe with, but it's also, I think it's very personal. It's a very personal matter. Like I like for me, love is finding a person or an object or whatever. Like I don't care, that you can be 100% yourself with. So
Yeah.
and you don't have to like not do certain things or not act a certain way. You can just be yourself, and somebody who just like makes you feel at home.
What does success look like to you?
Success. That's a tricky one. For me personally, success is being able to do what you love without having to care about paying rent or whatever. Just to be able to solely do what you love. And of course, like I said, like 5 minutes ago, it's like not everything's fun, and there's always going to be tax returns and stuff like that. But if the majority of your day you can spend doing the stuff that you love, and you don't have to stress or care, I think that's success. It's like if you've reached that point, like you don't have to like. I don't like to like measure success in like EDC Las Vegas or something like that. It's just as long as you can do whatever you love to do, I think that's success.
What do you love about your girlfriend?
I love that my girlfriend she's really outgoing, and she has a really like vibrant and loud personality, which is like kind of a little bit polar opposite to me. I'm more like introverted. But she kind of brings that out of me, which I really like. And she's really caring and just really, really supporting. It's like the funniest thing is like everybody's like, oh, isn't it hard to like have a girlfriend while like being on the road and stuff? And it's like, yes, it's hard. You don't get to see each other, but I get distracted by the fact that I'm playing a show every night. Like it's way harder to be the girlfriend of somebody who tours.
Yeah.
She works her day job and sits at home all night long, worrying if I had like a good show or if I'm doing well. So it's like, but the fact that because like it's really difficult. Like I'm mainly in the Netherlands when I'm not touring, and she lives in Canada, so we're always in between and stuff like that. But the fact that she's still willing to put up with all that shit, all the stupid stuff that I do, I really love that, and I think that's very special.
Yes. Last question. What do you want to be remembered for?
I saw videos. I know you asked this question. I should have been prepared. What do I want to be remembered for? It's so difficult. I don't know what I want to be remembered for. I want to be remembered for not being a douchebag, for just being a good guy. And I hope that the stuff me and Vince make, whether it be music or anything else, will continue being its own thing, and will continue being impactful to people. Whether it be like whether it make them smile or like change their whole lives, I don't care. But as long as like the stuff that we make gets from there.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, guys.